Hello and good morning, everyone. It's Stacey from A2K. And thanks for joining us for today's webinar, What is Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro? Technical lead Chad Smith will be presenting for us today. So before we start, we'll just go through about A2K, all about fostering innovation through consulting and training. A2K Technologies plays a vital role in helping infrastructure, building, mining, construction, architecture, and manufacturing industries reach their full potential by delivering complete technology solutions and support services such as education and consulting. Working with visionaries to shape the future of design and in turn enable them through innovation to minimize risks, improve productivity and achieve excellence. A2K Technologies is considered the business partner of choice and trusted advisor by vendors and clients. We partner with major software and hardware vendors to meet their clients' technology needs. We strive to exceed client expectations by pinpointing their challenges and delivering solutions through experience and innovation. We work with clients and companies that benefit us nationally and abroad. I just hand it over to you, Chad.
Thanks, Dexter. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. My name's Chad Smith. I'm a consulting technical lead here at A2K Technologies. I have a background in the AEC industry, having done design work myself, primarily using Revit as a design tool and also moving into this BIM 360 or Construction Cloud space as we now know it. And I also take the lead on these platforms as well. So I guess in a COVID changed world, the challenges our industry faces, well, I guess they kind of seem a little daunting. With more unpredictability and volatility, AEC businesses are looking towards cloud technologies as the new normal for the design. With the cloud, it's possible to maintain business continuity so we can work from anywhere and with insight in order to reduce risk and gain efficiency in day-to-day operations. And you know this all too well. Last year, A2K time and time again heard from you that when your teams are disconnected, it leads to data access issues, data redundancies, and errors. You also need your connected ecosystems of tools, whether to collaborate on designs or capture feedback, or run clash detection on two or more models, or to enable clarity and organization. In order to better manage unpredictability and disruptions, you need to empower your team and businesses to flexibly adapt as requirements change. This means fewer silos and more integrations, less restrictions and more flexibility, reduced wastage and more scalability. You want your technology investment to span multiple use cases, files types, and workflows. This is possible when data is organized in a common data environment, when access levels are structured for all team members, and when exchange of information can be coordinated, even automated, to make it easier for you. And finally, your business needs better visibility and insights into everyday design work. Which processes are working for your teams? What communication methods ensure round-trip resolution? Or how to reduce the conditions for repeat errors. Insights make project management and resource allocation easier once you have the right tools for risk mitigation, resource prediction, and control. Collaboration in the industry is being significantly reshaped. Companies are investing in digitization more than ever, but want solutions that connect more than just teams. They want to offer flexibility and provide insights. Collaboration solutions now need to be connected. You want to connect your teams, your tools, and data all in one place to improve productivity and avoid rework. You want to be able to collaborate in your preferred design tools, communicate progress in real time, and manage all documentation on a single platform that's built for the AEC industry. We want to be flexible. That is, with AEC workflows that are inclusive of horizontal and vertical products. You want anywhere access and anytime access to your data and authoring tools. And it also needs to be powerful. So with secure access of data storage and with the data centralized in one place. We want to maintain data integrity and learn from analytics and insights. Design data and BIM is in Autodesk's DNA, and they're uniquely positioned to extend the value of that design data throughout the plan, build, and operate phase, letting project data flow seamlessly across the lifecycle and making it available to teams in the right place at the right time. Autodesk's solution enables that connection to help companies move through the digitize, integrate, and optimize stages in the Autodesk Construction Cloud. And that solution comprises of several modules, connecting teams with projects and other businesses throughout the entire building lifecycle from design to operations. Our focus today is on BIM Collaborate Pro, which is part of the newer Autodesk Construction Cloud. But Autodesk also recently announced 3 new additions in the form of Autodesk Build, Autodesk Takeoff, and Autodesk BIM Collaborate. Each of these licenses serves a different role at their respective project stages. However, they all coexist with common modules such as Autodesk Docs for document control, Insight for analytics, and of course, the administration. So let's now take a look at the features and workflows that applies to a designer using BIM Collaborate Pro, and later on also outlining what this means for existing BIM 360 design users. So let's start this process by having a look at Autodesk Docs, which is for the document control. As we would expect from a common data environment, it is at the heart of the system that manages incoming document data for use in other workflows such as design authoring and moving it onwards for construction. Docs provides anytime access to document data so that it can be reviewed and actioned via ongoing design feedback. As a common data environment, project teams often rely on a single source of truth to speed up the collaboration process and improve document control. This means applying a solid folder structure where documents can be published or uploaded if you prefer, protecting these folders with permissions, ensuring that data is accessed by the right users and at the right time, and never losing access to old document versions when newer versions are released. And speaking of document versions, understanding how project designs change over time is critical to the review process. Both 2D PDFs and 3D models are tracked via version comparisons, meaning that project users remain informed at all stages of the design. If your concern is regarding accountability and ensuring that everyone involved on the project is completing their tasks in a timely manner, you can create issues and markups. These features enable you to pin issues in context, collaborate with common threads, add photos, assign work, and track open issues through to resolution. All issues are centralized into a project-wide list. Using the search and filters, or just by simply browsing, this list affords an easier way of triaging the issues. And with access to reporting, those same issue details can be published to a PDF or even emailed on a recurring schedule. Having a folder structure and permissions in your CDE only goes so far. To enhance this further, we use document workflows. Starting with approvals, this facilitates the submission of a set of documents to another user like a design or engineering manager for their review and approval so that the documents are first fit for use. Approved documents can then be released to other project users while rejected documents remain as is until they are resolved. Transmittals creates an official digital record that documents are electronically delivered to another user. These documents are typically those that are approved for use, so we can see the transmittals and approvals very much go hand in hand. Now, even though we are primarily focusing on features found in BIM Collaborate Pro, we're also going to talk about the non-pro license that was briefly mentioned towards the beginning of this session. BIM Collaborate Pro includes the features that we're going to cover under this non-pro version. So firstly, why does BIM Collaborate exist? Put simply, not all users on the project are design authors, but they still require features that help them view and track design changes. For those coming from an Autodesk BIM 360 background, this is actually a huge improvement to the overall workflow. These users can now visualize aggregated models from architects, MEP, and structural firms in one coordinated space. Navigate the model using zoom, pan, and orbit, and save views by model combinations or by levels. It now grants them the tools to essentially link models together, saving them as views which they can recall at a later time. They no longer have to rely on the design authoring team to perform these tasks for them. It also grants these non-authoring stakeholders the power to participate in the automatic clash detection to check newly published models and visualize clashes in a matrix where they can then filter by models or saved views. They can use the clash matrix to drill down into specific clashes where they can raise issues that are assigned back to the design authoring team. And speaking of coordination issues, issue management is a key component to continuous collaboration. There's no need to wait for the next coordination meeting to assign issues to project team members. Easily tag clashes as issues, assign them to the appropriate stakeholder for resolution, as well as importing a start and due date. Then later on, track these issues in the Insight module and follow up with the responsible parties. But model coordination is not the only aspect that design reviewers need to monitor. As designs change throughout the course of a project, visualizing change and managing design iterations keeps project teams on the same page. Design leads from each discipline can package 3D views and sheets to share with the greater project team, ensuring clarity that was changed and control over which designs are consumed. Now we'll level up from BIM Collaborate as a license to BIM Collaborate Pro for the design team and their authoring process. So this is where I'll step you through the main differences and similarities between the older BIM 360 design and the newer offerings. So to begin with, both BIM 360 design as the older platform now and the newer BIM Collaborate Pro, they essentially still all share the same common services. Now, these are services that assist those design authoring products with their general design workflows. whether that means having a multi-user workflow for those that are using the Revit Cloud Worksharing, or providing sequential access for those that may be using Civil 3D or Plant 3D. Now, found underneath both of those, and now including BIM Collaborate that we've also just been through, they all share the same common BIM 360 functionality. So underneath each of those licenses, we now receive all features that are shown on the screen, irrespective of whether it's the old BIM 360 design license or the new BIM Collaborate or BIM Collaborate Pro. Building on top of this, and now moving away from the BIM 360 space and over into the newer Autodesk Construction Cloud. We can see here that both BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro now also include the older BIM 360 model coordination and BIM 360 insights. And these are only found underneath the newer Construction Cloud licensing. And adding on to that are the Construction Cloud specific modules, which somewhat reflect the same or the previous BIM 360 features. However, what we've seen so far in some of the graphics in the slide, and what I'll show you a little bit later on, is that the Construction Cloud has a similar feel to BIM 360, but with a different user interface. It should be noted, just while we're looking at these comparisons here or differences, is that Autodesk have committed for the, at the very least, the near term, that BIM 360 as a design and construction platform will still continue and receive product feature updates as it moves forward, as well as the newer Construction Cloud. Let's have a look at it maybe a slightly different way. So rather than listing out those licenses with the features, what about if we look at it just in regards to designers, those that are authoring the information, and those that simply need to review it? This sort of simplifies the approach where we can see for the designers, they come in at the BIM Collaborate Pro level, which integrates with their authoring tools, either being Revit, Civil 3D, or Plant 3D. For those other people that are just considered reviewers, they can come in at the Autodesk BIM Collaborate level. And we saw those features before, where they can now review the design authored information. And also something we haven't touched on at the moment, and we won't touch on anymore moving forward, is the fact that the AEC collection as a product suite also now includes a lower and more entry level being Autodesk Docs. And that'll simply just provide access to the CDE so that they can access documents. We've heard recently that in the near future, Autodesk Docs will also be available to purchase as its own entry-level license. So BIM Collaborate Pro adds powerful Revit Cloud Worksharing technology that enables real-time Revit worksharing virtually anywhere, even with the most modest of internet connectivity. Revit models are synced to the Construction Cloud platform. From there, files are packaged and shared to other design teams. This can include both models and sheets, depending on what needs to be shared. Those other design teams then view the contents of the shared data and then optionally consume it into their own design workflow. This process ensures that design files remain on the platform without needing to be constantly downloaded and uploaded. And for both Civil 3D and Plant 3D, the design integration follows a more simple workflow. Both design authoring products connect natively into the platform, ensuring users are working from a single source of truth and with automated file locking that helps to control sequential file access. And lastly is Insight for dashboarding and analytics. It is data-driven, with Autodesk Docs being the foundation of BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro. It aggregates project data across the entire lifecycle to give users a clear picture into project performance, allowing them to make quicker and hopefully more informed business decisions, and to predict issues before they become costly. With the prediction and analytics capabilities of the Insight module, it presents the data in a unified project homepage with dashboards and reports, and also third-party partner data integrations. These features help teams manage the risk by giving them personalized visibility into their daily priorities. All right, so we're going to take a brief live overview of some of these features. With numerous attendees online today, I'm sure that there are going to be many that have never seen the newer Construction Cloud or even the old BIM 360 workflows. So some of this hopefully should be some good new information to get you introduced to these platforms. And for those already on BIM 360, this will no doubt give you a better feel for some of the subtle differences that come with the Construction Cloud. So I've just changed over to my web browser. I'm running Chrome, and because we're running in a web browser because both BIM 360 and the newer Autodesk Construction Cloud are very much browser focused. I've got a range of tabs open across the top with some other features that I'll get to in a moment. The first thing that we see when we log in is most likely going to be the document management space. That is Autodesk Docs. This comes with the AEC collection with BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro. We can see our menu system on the left-hand side that gives us access to a range of other features if we choose to use them. But the crux of Autodesk Docs is going to be regarding the project files and their folders. Here we can see that we've got just a customized folder structure that I've already created for the project. And within one of these particular folders are some working folders and corresponding files. Here underneath the architecture working folder, we can see the architectural Revit file, and the same would be underneath the services and structure. It is from this space that those Revit users, or whether they may even be the Civil 3D or Plant 3D that I've mentioned in the PowerPoint, this is where they would connect their design authoring tools so that they can work directly from this cloud space. Here, we can additionally see that this particular Revit model has been versioned 5 times. We can view the version history so that we can see at what stages the model or the information has been updated. And we can also see that we can compare these versions to better understand the way that this design has been changed over time. Now, in a Revit space specifically, we have what we call the design collaboration module. I've already got a tab open here with this already preloaded. Here we can see a similar-ish user interface, but more specifically is a timeline towards the top with each of those disciplines acting as their own design team. That is to say that the design team has a grouping of users that are all working together for the benefit of the models that are found within their own team. This timeline gives these users and other users as well the transparency into some of the general activities that are occurring during this design authoring process. And here we can already see that for each of these design teams, the disciplines, we can see that they have both published and consumed their information. That is to say that one of these teams may have shared a package of information, and that could very well be a Revit model plus some sheet information. And likewise, other teams could then be consuming that information that has been shared from the other design teams so that they can utilize that information as file links for their own design purpose. And we can see when we zoom into the timeline, just that separation of when this information has been packaged and shared, even to the extent that we can click on a package and start viewing the contents, in which case this particular package from the architectural team has a couple of what we call sets, and those sets contains possibly one or more pieces of data that they have wanted to share, in which case there is a coordination set that has a model but no sheets, but they also shared a preliminary set that contains some sheets, but maybe no 3D views. It is this information here by way of these sets that the other design teams can see what has been shared and therefore what they have on offer to consume into their own workflow. Now, as this design process is continuing, and that is the design authoring and distribution of this design information between these different disciplines occur, those design teams can also be publishing their own drawing sets, typically still by way of PDF. And over here underneath my published folder, if I was to go into, again, if we pick on the architectural as one example, we can see that they've released some PDF drawings. Some of these drawings have been through a review process, and we can clearly see their current status of whether they are approved, maybe approved with comments, maybe rejected outright. And we can also see how many times each of these drawings has actually been published. And therefore, again, just like the 3D model that I previously showed you, we can then compare these versions so that we can understand how those drawings have changed. I have one of those drawings open up in a different tab here, this being just a PDF, not a Revit model. But we can see here that when the two versions are selected, those changes are highlighted by way of the red and blue line work on the screen so that we can understand what changed between version 3 and up to version 4. If this was a 3D model, on the other hand, not only would we be able to see the changes, but we would additionally be able to see how things have changed, either whether elements were added, whether they were removed, or even if they were modified. And not only if they were modified, but how. Did they have their data changed? Did its location change? Or maybe its shape was changed. So both 2D and 3D share a very similar design comparison process. Let's close that. Now, coming back to my document space here, where we're obviously interacting with 2D and our 3D information as well. One thing that I didn't previously showed you was when the design teams were sharing their designs between each other using the design collaboration module, they are doing so in this shared space. And again, this is another location where designs are released so that they can be consumed by other design teams. It's actually on this particular folder here with its subfolders that I've previously gone through and set up what we call a coordination space. And this moves us into the model coordination process. Obviously, as the design team authors and releases their information, it's that released information that we then want to bring together as part of a coordination, or some people refer to it as a clash detection process, and we do that under the model coordination specifically. Now, I've already got that particular module open here on a different tab. So when we step into the model coordination, firstly, we can see under the coordination space that that I said we had created underneath that shared folder, we can see those Revit models. And not only those Revit models, but we can also see the views that have been authorized to be released as part of this coordination process, of which the services model in particular has 5 different views that helps us to split up some of those sub-disciplines in the services space. Here we can actually select some different models, and we can view them together. This simply just overlays these models so that we can start doing this coordination process. A different way that we can view this information is actually on the Clashes tab on the left-hand side. And this is likely because the page has timed out when I preloaded it 30 minutes ago. So let me just give that a quick reload. Okay, there we go. All right. So on the Clashes tab here, we can now see a matrix giving us a better insight into which models have more potential clashes that need resolution. In this case here, we can see for this particular cell that we've got both the services and the architectural model. And we could actually use this matrix here to click into these search results so that we can get a better understanding as to what those clash issues are. I'm not going to come into the models by way of this matrix because I want to show you just one more tab over on the left-hand side here, which is the Views tab. Remember I mentioned a moment ago on the Models tab that we could put different models together. Well, those different combinations, we can then ultimately save as a view so that we can recall those different combinations far more quickly than having to select them time and time again. So I'm going to jump into the structural and mechanical view, which obviously has those 2 models saved together. Now we just need to give this a moment to load this particular view. Oh, hang on. In fact, do I still have it up? I still have this open on this other tab here, so that's good. All right. So here is a preloaded view of both the services and the structural model. This gives us both of those models overlaid so that we can at least do a visual inspection. Now, remember, previously I said that this is available to the BIM Collaborate users as well as the authors who are using BIM Collaborate Pro. It too provides us with a list of actual clash results, which we can then use to move through and identify where these clashes are occurring so that we can ultimately select them and create an issue, which can then be assigned to the responsible party for resolution. Again, this page is probably just timed out because it was preloaded. Any coordination issues that are raised then fall under the global issues list so that the entire project can review which issues have been raised. Now, one of the nice things about Construction Cloud is its integration into both the design authoring process and the model review process as well. So since we're here on the clash results, let's jump over and have a look at Navisworks. Navisworks, with an additional add-in installed, gives us access to firstly open models directly from the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, I'm just going to give this one moment to load, and here is that same project that I have open over in my browser. And we can see those same models that I can select, again, just as I did a moment ago. They also contain the views that we can use as a quick selection to open, of which in the background, I already have the structural and mechanical already opened. And now with the issues panel open on the right-hand side, we can see where those clashes are occurring. We can select them from the issues panel on the right-hand side, view the details, and if we do reach a point where this issue or this clash has actually been resolved, well, then we can go ahead and close it out. It's just a way to bring that clash information from the web browser through to a desktop design review tool like Navisworks. And this also includes the design authoring process as well. So here is Revit, again, with the structural module open and, model open, and with the BIM 360 or Autodesk Construction Cloud add-in installed. In this case here, we're simply looking at design-related issues, not coordination issues like we did a moment ago inside of Navisworks. Again, we can see where these issues are by the markers on the module, and we can go ahead and select those issues. Just didn't quite center it in the view for me this time, but it'll get pretty close to where that issue is, where we can review the information, and again, we can deal with it rather than going back over to the web browser. So we can see here that we have almost a bit of a round trip process, whereby the documents are uploaded into Autodesk Docs. They then use the design collaboration module to work between different consultants. Those models are then coordinated together, and with any issues raised anywhere throughout that process, then being accessible in our design review or authoring products. Now, I know this particular topic typically brings up a ton of questions. So we're not going to answer questions in this session because Autodesk have already anticipated what typical questions get raised about the Construction Cloud. On the screen, you can see a couple of links, got some QR codes there. I think everybody knows what a QR code these days are due to COVID scanning apps and so forth. So by all means, take a screenshot of this, take a photo of it on your phone, and you can access those two particular pages. I've also put into the chat window for you both of those links if you would like to take a copy of them before we close out the session. However, if you've got any questions that you would then additionally like to ask that both of these FAQ Autodesk pages don't cover, then by all means, you can reach out to us. And I'll put up the email address for that in just a moment. We do continually run events at a2ktechnologies.com.au/events. So head over there if you'd like to see what else we'll be running into the future. And if you did have any questions beyond those Autodesk FAQ, then you can contact us at info@a2ktechnologies.com.au. I thank you for your attendance today. We will just close this out in just a moment, but give you a chance to grab those links from the chat window. But otherwise, thank you for your attendance and have a great day.